And the pitch swung on and belted to left field, into the corner, and up onto the grass for a 2-run home run. So the first pitch was a fastball where Quantrill just laid it in there for Michael, maybe a little high. Michael swung through it, but not the case with the second fastball, and that was a no-doubter after he made contact.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Royals Rundown Podcast, the Kansas City Royals podcast presented by Royals Review. He is Jeremy Greco. I am Jacob Milham, and in the spirit of AI and my dreams and a creative career at all, let's crush it. Jeremy, is anyone else having an existential crisis about AI, or is that just me today?
Oh, you said you're not on X Twitter as much?
Yeah.
No, everyone's having an existential crisis about AI. I might be the only person who is both like, AI is bad and we should be careful how AI isn't bad, but we should be careful how we use it.
Yep. Of course.
And also not screw it, I'm done. The world's over. I'm just crawling back into my bed and I'm gonna rot there.
Yeah. Hey, on that note, speaking of people rotting with technology, Steven Spielberg said he was producing Ready Player 2, so I'm here for that.
Gosh, darn it!
Have you read the book? Have you read the book?
Yes,
the book is amazing. Don't. We've had such a good time, Jeremy.
The book is much better than the movie.
What a political answer. What a political...
The movie is bad.
Yeah.
The movie takes all of the book's flaws and none of its good parts. And then says, we got all the brain, and then puts it on screen. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm derailing us quickly here.
Oh my gosh. You have 1 minute.
This is the problem with media right now in the current landscape of... They just show us things. They just show us, look, it's a DeLorean. Well, okay, but why is it a DeLorean? And how did he get the DeLorean? And why do I care? No, it's a DeLorean. Don't worry, it's a DeLorean. And this is what you see in the MCU. This is what you're seeing all over the places. We're not working our way to a spot. We're just there, and we're just supposed to go, yeah, you know, the stuff that goes in between here. Just imagine it. And if I wanted to imagine it, I'd be reading a book.
You put that very eloquently, Jeremy. Honey is agreeing with you in the background from the other room.
And I love reading books.
Yes.
Don't get me wrong. So I'm not trying to denigrate reading books, but if you're gonna do a movie, not just a handful of scenes you really wanted to do and some implied stuff that happens in between them, because the implied stuff that happens in between them is what matters.
Yes, exactly. That's called story building, folks, and modern movie magic does not make up for story building. I will say that. All right, hey, let's get back onto the Kansas City Royals. We are so far off the rails right now, Jeremy. Let's get back on. I have show notes for a reason. Okay.
I don't know what that reason is.
I know. If you want to keep updated on all things Kansas City Royals, your best bet is to go to www.royalsreview.com. We can assure you, unlike Sports Illustrated, there is no AI writers over at royalsreview.com. And you can support the podcast further by following us on Twitter and TikTok at Royal Rundown Pod. I said Twitter. Gosh, dang it. Elon has conditioned it so well. Golly. But sticking with my show notes that I have so eloquently written, please make sure to check out our polls and Q&As on Spotify. Each week, we give you a chance to answer our question, and we will read your responses on air in the following episode. We will do that later on in the show, but coming up on today's episode, we run down the latest Royals news, including a controversial demotion. Woo. And we play the stock market with some Royals futures, all that and more on today's episode. Now, Jeremy, you were giving me some grief about my lovely show notes earlier.
Never.
You said, "Oh well, we'll just do the mailbag thing whenever it happens." But
All
no,
plays lie. I would
yes.
never do that. I have only the utmost respect for you, Jacob.
I'm going to leak this full recording so everyone can hear the nonsense we talk about.
That I don't think that's necessary.
Oh goodness. But Jeremy, you're doing a different type of article this week for Royals Review, or next week possibly.
Saturday.
Okay, go and tell folks about it. I want to hear about it.
Yeah, so we haven't had a mailbag in a while. I like to answer people's questions. Spoiler alert, it's makes for much easier writing when you don't have an idea. Let everybody else give you your idea. So whenever you see a mailbag, remember that's somebody saying, I don't have an idea for what to write this week. Please give me one. I could do a roster preview. I thought about doing a roster preview, but I want to wait another week and see what all happens in spring training. Obviously, I already have to make one big change, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah. But if you have questions for the mailbag, hit me up on X, HOKIUS, at Hakias, X Twitter, whatever we're calling it. See, now you've screwed. Now I said X.
Oh, no,
what is wrong?
X.
This is it's reverse day, opposite day. But hit me up there. Send me your question, and I will probably. I'm not going to guarantee anything because guaranteeing things is how you get in trouble. Mm-hmm. I will probably answer it in my mailbag this weekend.
I like it. Yeah, make sure to hit up Jeremy. Also, if you're just listening to the episode, if you drop it in the Q&A, we'll make sure to get it over to Jeremy before he writes the article.
There you go.
I am looking forward to that, sir. So appreciate that. First off, let's go ahead and congratulate the one and only Bo Jackson.
Bo knows.
Bo does know. And what does Bo know? Bo knows the Royals Hall of Fame. The Royals announced Wednesday morning that Bo Jackson has been elected into the Royals Hall of Fame and will be inducted during an on-field ceremony on Saturday, June 29th.
What did you say will happen to him on that day?
He will be inducted.
Oh, I thought you said elected. I was like, he's already been elected. I was very confused.
Well, they're going to hold a voice count there in Kauffman Stadium.
Yes.
Because
if you say nay when it's your turn, be prepared to be a baseball bat over Bo Jackson's knee. I'm just saying, be prepared.
It could happen.
Understand your role in this situation.
Oof. Jeremy said, know your role and stick to it. But no, so who did actually elect Bo Jackson to the Royals Hall of Fame? The Royals Hall of Fame Veterans Committee did so. It's a I'm trying to think of how to. So it simply breaks down: comprised of Royals Hall of Fame members, club executives, and local media candidates, just like the normal Hall of Fame. Yep, not us. What are y'all doing? We don't disagree. I think I would have voted for him.
Yes, concur.
But still, you didn't include us. How dare you? I can't believe it. Just like the normal Hall of Fame candidates, they still need that coveted 75% to reach the Hall of Fame, and Bo has done that. Jeremy, I ain't gonna lie, we've established that I am the younger of the two of us on this podcast many a time. But
you're not about to ask me what it was like to watch Bo play, are you? Because I'm not that old.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
That would have been funny. No, I should have. Back in your wee lad days, what was it like to watch Bo Jackson climb the outfield wall?
Okay, so the closest I got to watching Bo Jackson climb the outfield wall was I think we've talked about it on this show before because it's such like a core memory for me.
Okay.
There was this Saturday morning cartoon that had Michael Jordan, Bo Jackson, and Wayne Gretzky fighting crime. I don't remember what it was called, but it's like ingrained in my memory. And so that was the closest I got to,
there you go.
To that is those sports superstars, which one of those guys is not like the other. I'm sorry, Bo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that.
Yeah, listen, the two sport stud, he had a decent run with the Kansas City Royals. Unfortunately, his body was his worst enemy in both sports. If you haven't watched it and you're a sports fan, highly suggest going and watching the Bo Jackson 30 for 30 on ESPN Plus. It was a very good look into like what he was thinking during all this and what actually went into it. So, but all in all, congrats to Bo Jackson on getting that. That's a great accolade. Another thing to add to his already sparkling trophy room, I will say. So that ceremony again will be on Saturday, June 29th. I'm not aware of who the Royals play that day, but it's a Saturday game in Kauffman Stadium, so you better be there if you can be, in my opinion. All right. So, Jeremy, listen, we are 15 days.
Guardians.
What?
They're playing the Guardians that day.
Oh, okay. I thought you said something about, like, I just heard the Guardians, and unfortunately, my nerd brain went initially to Guardians of the Galaxy.
If only.
I know, right?
I think the Royals could beat them just because they don't even have 9 players.
That is true, but they have a living tree, Jeremy, okay?
Yeah, but so he can hit, but can he field? There ain't no leather on that tree.
He can grow branches, Jeremy.
There ain't no leather on that tree.
Oh my gosh. No, Jeremy, we're not talking about this. We're talking about important things that the Royals did down in Arizona. Because we are 15 days away from opening day. I know. We're almost. Listen, by the time folks are listening to this, we are 2 weeks away. That is crazy to me. I'm loving it. I am so excited. We've hit like the weird lull of spring training where the sparkle has diminished on spring training. It's just like, okay.
That happens to me after the first weekend. I got to be
really.
honest.
I think it happened to me quicker because there's not as many games on TV in the spring. I know today's game against the Angels is on they have an Angels feed, but come on, I don't want to listen to the Angels feed. I want my guys. But I like listening to Steve and Jake. So they're pretty damn good at what they do. The big news coming out of Suprise regarding the Royals were a couple of surprising demotions. I call them surprising. We got quite a rise.
I'm not rolling my eyes at you because they're surprising. I'm rolling my eyes at you because surprising transactions in Surprise, Arizona.
You see what I did there? I didn't even put that in the show notes. I just came up with that off the top of my head. It's crazy. Wow. No, I used AI to help me, come up with that witty remark.
Like AI would have served you better. So Tyler Gentry and John McMillan, huh? I'm just going to steal your thunder now.
Oh, yeah.
That?
Go for
Tyler
it, man.
Gentry got demoted. I think that one was expected, even though it's a little, it's a little sad.
Yeah.
Not really room for him. But John McMillan was in almost everyone's roster projections, including my own. So what are your thoughts, Jacob?
So, listen, it was... it was disappointing, I think, that McMillan didn't make the opening day roster because we got so invested in him and he looked so good. But at the end of the day, it was for 4 innings of major league work. He looked great. He had the stuff. But I think maybe some of the injury and working him back slowly and completely back to health is playing into this. I'm reading between the lines here, and I do sometimes. It seemed like there was a very reactive approach from the Kansas City Royals after the McMillan demotion because he has a very almost cult following at this point. I would say, at least that's what it seems like to me. Manager Matt Quatrero did have some things on it, saying, "quote Our expectations for him are really high." As they should be based on what we saw him accomplish last year. Talking about his progress and some mechanical adjustments that he has done, but that he is still slowed in the off season. And when he came to Surprise, the velocity wasn't all the way back. So I'd rather him work through that at AAA Omaha, have a longer leash there, and just kind of play his way back into the bullpen. What do you think, Jeremy?
Yeah, so Annie Rogers had that quote on her Twitter account, and she followed it up with, teams need to feel confident with a few things from relievers who break camp. Back-to-back outings, pitching multiple times a week, like 3 out of 5 days, and the way that they recover. So I think that this is not an indication that the Royals have doubts about his abilities. This is an indication that they want to make sure that he is 100% healthy and that he can be counted on in the bullpen for the big league team when they need him. So they're going to let him start in AAA so that they have guys that they can count on in that way to start. And I do not expect him to be in Omaha for very long. I expect him to be one of the first guys they call up when they need a reliever, and that he will then probably spend the rest of the year on the big league roster. So I this is not a demotion from a lack of belief in his talent. This is not a demotion because of a lack of performance in Suprise. This is simply he's got to be 100% healthy thing. And I think that's reasonable. I think that's fair. I think that's a good idea. Tyler Gentry is kind of a similar thing where I don't think he played his way out of the team. I don't think he ever had a real shot after they signed Hunter Renfroe, especially after they signed Adam Frazier. So he's just going to go to AAA. He's going to get everyday at bats. If Melendez isn't very good, if Renfroe isn't very good, if Gentry takes advantage of his opportunities in Omaha, we are going to see him sooner rather than later. But he's not going to come up until he has an opportunity to start, which I think is fair. I don't think any of us want him on the bench.
No, I certainly don't. And our good friend Preston Farr was talking about it last season that Gentry, as the team stood, Gentry should have a starting shot at the opening day roster out in left field. But like you said, adding Adam Frazier, even adding Garrett Hampson is affecting the outfield picture. Hunter Renfroe, and it's better for him to get everyday reps. And we'll try again once injuries happen. We'll try again maybe next year, however you want it. But I don't think I think
we'll see him sometime this year.
I think we will as well. I just don't think we're going to see him. I'm trying to think. It's going to take someone stumbling ahead of him for us to see him. Or an injury. Yes, you're absolutely right. We talk about this all the time with pitchers, but how rare are 162 game starters out there anymore? So on that note, Jeremy, one more transaction thing that I actually did not bring up. Sorry about that. I do want to run through the probable starters for the Kansas City Royals from Thursday to Saturday. If you're ready to hold on with me for that.
Yeah.
All right. So Thursday, the Royals face the Arizona Diamondbacks, the defending NL champions, and their probable pitchers are Michael Wacha, Luis Cessa, Dan Altavilla, Evan Sisk, and Jonah DePoto. So that is the Thursday lineup. And then on Friday, we have Brady Singer, Will Smith, Chris Stratton, Nick Anderson, and Matt Sauer. So really a pitching staff there full of MLB guys. That'll be interesting to watch. And then it's a split squad game on Friday. I forgot about that. So the first squad is facing off against Cleveland. Second squad is facing off against the Cincinnati Reds. And they will feature Alec Marsh, Josh Taylor, John Schreiber, Jake Brentz, and Sam Long. So all of three of the four major players in the lefty battle will be there. We'll talk about the fourth guy if you're curious on who that is. And then on Saturday, the one and only Jordan Lyles will pitch, followed by James MacArthur, Anthony Veneziano, and Luis Cessa once again. And unfortunately, all of those are just on the radio. No TV. Can't watch it anymore. So that sucks. But
I still think the radio experiences can be really good, especially in spring training. I've talked about this before, but when they have just the internet radio and they're not broadcasting on the local station, you get that sounds of the park in between innings, and it's just really pleasant and calming to listen to the crowd chatter and the stadium music and all that stuff, and the pop of the glove as they're warming up in the infield and all that stuff. So if you have an opportunity, I really do recommend you at least give that a try. I know a lot of people think of baseball as kind of a meditative sport, where they just kind of watch it and chill out, and really spring training audio is an excellent format, like the highest format of that, I believe.
I definitely agree with you. And also we get to hear from a lot of different people that we wouldn't normally. You'll have a lot of guests come on. One guy that came to my mind was Jalen Thompson of the Kansas City Star. He was on for a few innings the other day. And it's just very peaceful. It's just very nice to listen to. And I'm just getting bored with it because I'm ready to I want to start evaluating some of these guys, or my brand of evaluating, it's a little shoddy.
Game day internship with the Omaha Storm Chasers is the perfect opportunity for a college student interested in exploring a career in the sports industry. Storm Chasers interns have the chance to work in almost every aspect of game day and event operations at Warner Park, while gaining knowledge about the inner workings of minor league baseball. There's no better way to learn and grow while discovering your passions and goals than becoming a part of our Chasers family. To learn more about internship opportunities with the Storm Chasers, head to omahastormchasers.com or email Ania Tate, ANIYAT, at omahastormchasers.com.
Everyone get on your feet, stir up the storm, we're family.
Baseball season is on its way, and there's no better place to spend the summer than with the Quad Cities River Bandits. From the Royals' top prospects on the field to a jam-packed promotional schedule, the fun never stops at Modern Woodman Park. Can't miss any of the action? Ticket packages are on sale now, with full season plans starting at less than $5 per game. Season ticket holders enjoy premium perks, including guaranteed giveaways, team store discounts, a full season parking pass, and so much more. For more information, visit riverbandits.com or call 563-324-3000.
But speaking of evaluating, we're actually going to do that right now, Jeremy. We're going to do some stock up, stock down on 4 Kansas City Royals players, 2 position players and 2 pitchers. This is exactly how it sounds. We're going to ask each other 2 players, and we're going to say if their stock has gone up or their stock has gone down since spring training has started, and why we believe that. So, Jeremy, I'm going to put you on the hot seat first.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
All right. Well, we talked about him just a little bit ago, so I want to know, in your eyes, is Brady Singer's stock up or stock down since spring training started?
You're not gonna like this. I think his stock is the same. It might be a little up.
Okay.
The strikeouts, he's got 7 strikeouts and 2 walks in 7 1/3 innings. So those are pretty good numbers. The ERA is ugly, 7.36. He's given up 6 earned runs on 9 hits and 2 walks in 7 1/3 innings. Ooh. So that's a 1.5 WHIP, which is not like crazy high. I mean, it's high, but it's not ridiculously so.
Yeah.
So the earned runs are probably a little unlucky. But as I'm going to keep hammering home, the strikeouts and the walks are what interest me the most, and 7-2 ratio there, pretty good. So I guess if you put a gun to my head, don't do that, please. But if you did, I would say his stock is up a little bit because those strikeouts are back up. I would love to know what his velocity is on a non-Arizona
move.
Speedometer there, but it is what it is. So I'll say his stock's up. How about that?
I like that. And before you ask me your player next, I do want to point out his FIP is very, very different from his ERA. His ERA is sitting at 7.36, and his FIP is sitting at 4.73. So that's not ideal at all, but it is still well within the acceptable range, I guess, for this time of the year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, as you're thinking of Brady Singer and whether his stock is up or down, his ERA was in the 5s last year, I believe.
True. Yeah.
So if his ERA this year would be closer to that FIP, he would be a better pitcher this year than he was last year.
Yeah, he absolutely would. But back over to you, Jeremy.
All right, so it's your turn now, and I am going to give you a dark horse bullpen candidate. We talked about him before.
Oh, boy.
A lot of people are starting to talk about him, I think. But Walter Pennington Is his stock up or down?
Ooh, that is a good one. Listen, first off, before I give my answer, I have to note this guy went to the Colorado School of Mines.
Yeah, I saw that. I was looking that up earlier. I was like, what on earth even is that?
It's pretty dang cool. That's what it is, Jeremy.
All right.
You don't see a lot of baseball talent coming out of that school, I imagine.
Wouldn't be surprised if he was the only one.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this with a lot of confidence. I think the stock is up. I think that is the only direction it has trended this spring training. The guy is looking absolutely electric, and you pointed out the op qual stat to me around when spring training started, and his op qual sitting at 7.4. So it's not like he's just dominating lower competition. Most of these major league starters, they're sitting at around like 7.7 or 7.5, somewhere in that range. So 7.4 is still pretty good grading on a scale. Only 3 2/3 innings, so not a lot to go on, but 8 strikeouts to no walks. That is absolutely going to play. Not a single earned run. And just like you talked about with that whip, a .546 whip. He is really limiting not just the walks, of course, by having 0, but he's limiting the hits as well, which sometimes you can have relievers who do one and not the other very well. Is his 19.6 K/9 going to ride the rest of the season? No, unfortunately not. I wish it would. That would be crazy. But the guy's only 26. He's not on the Royals 40-man roster. I think he has a decent shot. More of these non-roster guys are starting to make some noise in the lefty bullpen spot, and Walter Pennington is a name to watch.
I just have to point out this stat because it's so crazy to me.
Okay.
You said he had 8 strikeouts.
Yeah.
He has 15 batters faced.
Man, that is
he has
crazy
struck out
rate.
more than half of the guys who have stepped to the plate against him.
Wow.
You are more likely right now, if you have faced Walter Pennington in spring training, you are more likely to have struck out than to do anything else combined.
Not hit, not walk, nothing. Like just put the ball in.
Not reach on error.
Yeah,
not make it out in play. It's just crazy.
Well, and this is also a guy who, like, he did okay in Omaha last year. This was his first long look at Omaha. He had 61 innings last year for the Storm Chasers, 3.69 ERA, which will absolutely play, but his whip was a little high, sitting at 1.37. So, like, you don't really like to see that, but it was his first season there, and he, over the entire time, he did okay. So maybe we should have put a little bit more stock into him, but at 26, he's knocking on the door, and I like it.
Yeah.
So it is now back to me, and I'm going to give you another doozy, man. I'm not throwing any softballs here today. I have to ask you, has Vinny Pasquantino's stock gone up or gone down since spring training began?
This is another difficult one. I'm going to say his stock is up.
Oh, really? Okay.
I know that his OPS isn't where people would like it to be. It's only been a 787 so far. He's only got 1 home run. But he's still got 3 walks and only 2 strikeouts.
Yep.
That is the Vinny that we know and love. And if he's healthy and he's still the Vinny we know and love, I have no doubt he's going to find his power stroke sooner rather than later. And really, I think that anyone who thinks he's going to be like a 40 home run guy, probably living in a dream world. 30 home runs is probably where he's going to top out, and you might expect him to be more 20 home runs. He is going to be a guy who hits for a good average, hits a bunch of doubles, and doesn't strike out. Takes a lot of walks too.
Yes, he does.
So that's where his value is going to come, is just getting on base a lot, not necessarily hitting for a ton of power. So just, keep your expectations in mind there. I just got the 3 walks and the 2 strikeouts is just amazing from a guy who didn't play most of last year, and to come back to spring training and be like, no, I still know how to not strike out and how to take a walk.
Yeah, and that rust was looking mighty strong to start off spring training. So even right now, he's sitting at 109 weighted runs created plus in spring training. So he is still an above average batter against spring training competition. Now, like you said, he's not lighting it up like we would all like to see, but he's still getting back into it, still getting back into the swing. I guess I have more of a forgiving approach to position players coming back from major injuries rather than pitchers a la Jake Brentz, who is my enemy right now. But I like it, Jeremy. I like
it. I mean, Jake Brentz hasn't done anything well yet, so there's a difference there. All right, so I got one more for you.
Okay.
Those of you who are paying attention, this man has already home runned today. He's hit a home run today. He home ran. He ran home. All that good stuff. Michael Garcia is his stock up or down? Buy, sell, or hold?
I am buying. I am buying. This has been the best outcome that we could have thought of regarding Michael Garcia. He has come into spring training absolutely electric after a really good showing at times down in winter ball. It was very enjoyable to watch him on that championship run. Like you said, he has 2 home runs so far in spring. He had one on Tuesday and one on Wednesday. So he's currently on a hot streak right now. An OPS of 966 as of this recording. That is absolutely going to play. And then that coveted op qual at 7.7, which is on the higher end of the scale for all Royals players. So that is showing this guy is ready to go. He is ready to go for opening day. And also we've hammered it home with the strikes and the walkouts, but it's still to be said, he is 1 for 1 on strikes and walkouts, which if you're doing that as a batter, I'm just fine. Anything else is a cherry on top. Right, Jeremy?
Absolutely. The big question I had for Michael Garcia has always been, can he hit for any power at all?
Yeah.
I don't even need him to hit 20 home runs, but can you hit me 12 or 13? Can you hit me a few doubles? And he's hitting it hard right now. He is hitting it hard.
Yes.
And like you said, that 1-to-1 strikeout to walk ratio, 5 of each of those total now. That means he has got a 440 OBP so far in spring training. You want to give me a 440 OBP in my leadoff spot and a guy with some speed? I will take that. I would take that without the power.
I really would.
Yeah, so his stock is way up for me as well. I am very excited after spending an entire offseason saying maybe the Royals should trade this guy. Maybe he shouldn't be the third baseman of the future. I'm all in now, baby. I'm ready to go.
Hell yeah, I love it. And he just turned 24, so there's still a lot of road ahead for Michael Garcia. It looks like. I know we have spouted off a lot of numbers on today's episode, but I do want to give y'all one more, and that is 405. Tuesday's game was the Royals' first game in a StatCast stadium, if I recall correctly, or at least it was one of the first. And Michael Garcia's home run against the Rockies went an estimated 405 feet. So that is a no doubter.
And that was an inside pitch that he turned on and crushed.
Yeah.
So that was a pitch that maybe we really kind of would have normally expected him to kind of try to flip into the outfield, maybe the other way.
Yeah.
And to see him drive that sucker instead, that's a really good sign.
That it is. It is an amazing sign. If there are any other players that you think the stock is up or stock is down on, please let us know on X. You can tag us at Royal Rundown Pod. You can also send myself and Jeremy a direct message if you would rather. Our social media links are in the podcast description below. But Jeremy, the Spotify Q&A last time actually sparked some pretty good conversation between us, so I do want to give some time to that. Does that sound good?
Sure. Yeah. Let's do it.
So, once again, we run a poll, we run a Q&A every episode exclusively on Spotify. You can only respond to it on there. I do want to read off the let's see. I did the poll. I don't usually read off the poll results, but this was so decisive that I needed to.
All right.
I asked in the poll, where will Nick Pratto start the 2024 season? I gave AAA Omaha, MLB, or in another organization entirely.
Okay.
15 out of 16 voters said he's going to start in AAA Omaha, which
that's a safe bet.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely the safe bet, and I think that is the correct bet. But I just thought it was surprising considering how hot Pratto has been at the plate so far this spring. So definitely a guy to keep an eye out for. But on the last episode, we also asked the listeners who has been your spring training standout and why. Because, Jeremy, I mean, that's what we talked about last time, who's been the most surprising person and stuff like that. So getting into the responses, I gotta say, Preston Farr, he got to you on social media. He made his mind known. He said in the Q&A responses, my spring training standout is Jeremy for saying that Alec Marsh doesn't have a prospect pedigree. He got you.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm sorry. I never heard of the guy until he got promoted. I was like, who? Alec Marsh? What?
Who the heck is this guy?
Some of the local guys talked about him, but it wasn't like he was highly ranked in the system. He never was a top 100 prospect. So, like, yes, some people were aware of him. Some people were talking him up. I listened to y'all on Vinny Pasquantino. I should have listened on Alec Marsh. I'm sorry. What do you want from me?
We're all learning and we're all growing, Jeremy. Okay. Now let me give you a 1 hour podcast episode about how Javier Vaz is the next great Royals player. No, I'm kidding. Kidding. Exodore said, loving what Nick Lofton is doing with the bat. How much does he have to hit before they take him seriously? It's Whit Merrifield all over again. Which, yeah, Jeremy, I saw that face and I kind of made a similar one because at Exodore, I think you are absolutely right. Nick Lofton is doing what he can to put himself on the opening day roster. He's doing great at the plate. He's looking solid in the field. We absolutely love what he's doing. But, and this is the big but, I don't know why people keep saying that Whit Merrifield should have been on the Royals 2015 World Series championship roster because he wasn't great before then. It's like even on the Royals prospects scale, he was not great. And I don't think that comparing him to Nick Lofton is fair to either player, I guess. Am I in the right track there, Jeremy?
Yeah, listen, come on, everybody. Whit Merrifield, I'm pulling up his 2014 stats right now. Sure, he had an 840 OPS. He only had 8 homers in AAA. He did have a whole crap ton of doubles.
He did.
But he had 16 stolen bases, 11 caught stealing. There was no indication he was going to become the stolen base machine he became later. There was a lot of soft contact, a lot of reason to think he's a utility guy, and he's never going to be more than that. Now, I will give you that after he debuted in 2016, he probably should have had this, I think it was 2017, where he was battling with Chesler Cuthbert and Alberto Mondesi for the opening day second base spot, and they gave it to Mondesi. And they probably should have given it to Merrifield.
Yeah.
I'll be the first one to say that. But people talk as if he was some sort of prospect destined for success, and the Royals held him down for years. And that's they screwed up in 2017, but not before or after that.
Yeah.
Except in holding on to him for a team that was just awful and not getting, good prospects back for him.
Speaking of which, he's actually doing pretty solid right now for the Philadelphia Phillies. Got a 152 weighted runs created plus so far in spring training. So it'll be interesting to see what he could do in his age 35 season.
Throw out his op-qual is 6.8.
Yeah. Yeesh.
So,
that's probably a little skewed there. But let's get back to the Q&A responses. David Kim said, Pratto, don't think he'll break camp with the club, but he's reviving some hope that he'll figure it out and warrant another chance at the MLB level. And that's why I put in another organization in the poll, Jeremy, because I think like right now, if the Royals are going to rock with Vinny and Salvi as the 1 and 2 first base options, then they might as well explore trading away Prado for something, right?
You'd think that. His value's never been lower than it is right now.
That's fair. That's fair.
So you might as well. I think at this point you're probably better off hanging on to him in AAA.
Okay.
And if somebody gets hurt, you can promote him and give him a shot then. Also, a big question mark is, and I know people don't want to hear this.
Oh boy.
I don't want to say it.
Oh no.
But Nelson Velasquez is a big question mark right now. He's not having a good spring training. He has had strikeout issues. He even had some strikeout issues last year. Believe me, I am a big believer. I want to believe that Velasquez is the real deal and he's just going to crush 50, 60 home runs for the Royals. I want to believe it. But I think it makes sense to have an insurance option for your designated hitter if he does turn into a pumpkin. There is a reason he was available for Jose Cuas.
That's
true. It would be a bummer if he doesn't figure things out and start hitting taters again, but a good team has backup options.
Yep, that's a great point there. And Prado, for all of his athletic profile at first base, he still held down the corner outfield spots just fine in limited opportunities. So
he's not worse than Velasquez out there.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, Royal Rupert said Walter Pennington. He has gone from nice to have him in camp to he may be the best lefty in the bullpen. That is some high praise. And I mean, it's not like Will Smith has been lights out this spring, unfortunately.
Sam Long would like a word, though.
That's true. That is true. God, who'd have thunk that we'd be talking about Sam Long and Walter Pennington this deep in the spring training? Not me.
I didn't even know Sam Long was a guy.
Oh, he's not just a guy. He is the guys. Okay, he is the guy. No, okay.
It's okay, Jacob.
Mind the Mooses says
Great
Nick
name.
Lofton. OPS is over 1,000 as a supposed utility player. It will be tough to watch him go back to Omaha to keep Frazier. Even more since Lofton will be a more natural platoon with Massey. I think that's a great point that maybe we should dive into more later on. See how that.
I just have to
works
say,
out.
more impressive to me than his OPS is 6 walks and 3 strikeouts.
Yeah, doubling up on that is amazing, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I cannot emphasize this enough. I do not care what your OPS is in spring training. Talk to me about your strikeouts and your walks.
It translates. Plate approach translates.
If anything translates, it's those things. OPS does not.
Well, I think, I never thought about this, so bear with me on this. I guess it's probably the 3 true outcomes that we really translate for both pitchers and batters.
Home runs don't translate either.
You don't think so? With the Arizona. Okay.
Yeah.
You got me there. Thank you for pointing that out. Zach Horine, I'm sorry, I hope I'm saying that right, says I'd have to go Prado with all the recent success. Even with all that, I still don't see him making the initial roster without injuries at first or the corner outfield spots, knock on wood. Absolutely agree with you there, Zach. I think that's the best way to put it. And then lastly, Aaron Bailey says Prado seems different, so maybe he was really banged up last year and is finding it. But Vinny and Salvi means there's no real spot for him right now, and I think that's going to keep him off the MLB roster.
Vinny, Salvi, Fermin, and Velasquez. It takes all of them to keep Prado off the roster.
It is a group effort. We are really just collaborating
like,
against Prado.
Red Rover, send Prado on over, and then they just knock him on his butt.
I love it. Jeremy, before we move on to Royals reviews, is there anything that I forgot? Anything else that you'd like to talk about with the Royals?
Gosh, I swear there was one thing I wanted to talk about that I completely forgot to mention.
Well, you should have dropped it in the Slack chat.
Daniel Lynch pinched today, 4 innings, 5 strikeouts, 1 walk. Is he back in the rotation conversation?
Ooh, he probably has to be.
I mean, he wasn't really ever out of the conversation. He was out of the conversation in my mind, but not in reality.
I think, you know what? We haven't heard, I guess is this going to be Jordan Lyles' first pitching appearance since his injury on Saturday? I think it will be. So I think
when he's pitching again.
Yeah.
Gosh, that's a long time between outings after taking a while to get his first outing.
Yeah, so I think it really depends on how Jordan Lyles is feeling, because I don't think they're going to bump Lyles to the bullpen role yet, and they might just give him some time on the IL and have Lynch take his spot in the 5-man rotation.
I really want to see Marsh. I really want to see Marsh. Marsh is my man. He's a Martian.
You're a Marsh man?
I'm a Marsh man.
Put it on a t-shirt, folks. We have a Marsh man over here. Let's see here. Looking at what Daniel's done so far this spring. So heading into today's game, 4 runs on 7 hits and 4 walks and 4 outings this spring. So totaling up to 9 innings. He did have a good showing last Friday, 3 innings of 1-run ball. But so he is trending up at least. I just don't know if he's at the point where I would even put him above Lyles, a healthy Lyles in the rotation. So we'll have to see where that goes. Yep. But Jeremy, you didn't drop your review in the show notes. What are you doing, man?
I did.
I do. I'm organized.
All right, give me your review. I still don't have mine. That's why it's not in there.
I love it. So if you're hearing noise in the background of today's episode, it is A, because I was too lazy to get up and get the TV remote to mute it, honestly. But B, it is because we have been constantly streaming the Bob Ross channel on Samsung TV Plus. It is, let me put it to you like this. It brings me back to simpler days of PBS and just watching this guy paint. And it's literally a 24/7 channel that just runs Bob Ross at all times with like commercials in between each episode. It is absolutely lovely. It is absolutely peaceful. We leave it on for the dogs. So I guess that's probably like when parents play Mozart for their babies. They're just getting smarter, right? That's the only way I can think this happens. But if you have a smart Samsung TV, I know you got it. It's called Samsung TV Plus, and you probably have some other version of it on your TV. I know there's also a YouTube channel that does Bob Ross 24/7. So go check it out. Go chill out with some Bob Ross. He's a good guy. Jeremy, what you got, man?
All right, I'm in honor of the late great Akira Toriyama.
Oh yeah,
I'm gonna give you some Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Gosh, here's the thing about Dragon Ball. It is at times extremely problematic. Women characters are not well respected on the show. But it is also hugely influential in anime, in manga, in movies, in TV shows, like beyond, it transcends genre.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you are a film buff or a anime buff or a TV buff, you owe it to yourself to at least watch some of Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Z, one of those. I actually prefer Dragon Ball Super, I think is the best series of all of them. But those two are just hugely influential on everything that has come after them. And, like I said, not perfect. Toriyama, not perfect, but impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Very talented. And there's a lot of good in there too. So, take some time, go watch some Dragon Ball and celebrate, one of the great, luminaries of our time, really.
Yep. That we lost this past week entirely too soon. I will say that. Just no matter what you do, don't go watch Dragon Ball GT. Just that doesn't exist.
As a person who watched every episode of every Dragon Ball ever, despite not liking any of them until Super, don't watch GT. Save yourself the effort.
It's not worth it. Or if you really want a crass laugh, you can always go watch Dragon Ball Abridged. That's the
I thought about recommending Dragon Ball Abridged because it is significantly better paced than the Dragon Ball anime. But I feel like half or more of its jokes don't land until you've watched Dragon Ball.
That's
so
fair.
after you watch Dragon Ball Abridged.
Yeah.
Have a good time.
It's hilarious. Hilarious. Absolutely. It's definitely it definitely gives early 2010s YouTube vibes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super crass, occasionally problematic, very funny.
Yes. Exactly. Well, for everyone out there still listening, thank you for going on this bus ride with us. Jeremy only grabbed the wheel a few times, but I think we stayed on the paved road for the most part. Did we stay in our lane? No, not at all. But that is going to do it for today's episode. Please drop a 5-star review, subscription, follow, like, wherever you're listening, whatever that equivalent is. It really does help out the podcast and help us get in more feeds of Royals fans around the world, really. Make sure to check out Royals Review for the news, analysis, and commentary you need on all things Kansas City Royals. From myself and Jeremy, thank you for listening and for supporting us. If you ever have a question or something you want us to cover, hit us up on X. We always enjoy when people do. We love hearing from you guys. And until next time, go Royals!
Honk, honk.